Hey everybody, welcome to Compton's Clean Kitchen. So today we're going to do something really fun. We're going to make Rice Krispie treats without the marshmallows and things. That's one of Ben's I'll never be able to have again. And he doesn't like Rice Krispie treats normally through the year, but at Halloween he thinks that's the perfect time for him. So that's what we're going to make today. But before we do that, I had a question that I wanted to answer from somebody. They asked me how I could have tree nuts and cook with almonds when I'm allergic to peanuts. And that's a great question, and it's really confusing because I don't know why the person who named peanuts decided to put the word nut in there, but they are not a nut. Peanuts are a legume. They're in the same family as green beans and peas and, you know, chickpeas and that kind of thing, but they are not a nut. So therefore I can have tree nuts because I don't have that allergy, but I can't have peanuts. So great question. Thanks for sending it. If you have any other questions, just send them on. Okay, so now to the fun part. A lot of people like Rice Krispie treats, so I'm going to show you how we do them so that we can have Rice Krispie treats. And I actually have to be careful with these because I don't eat a lot of sweets, but I love Rice Krispie treats. So what we're going to use is brown rice syrup, coconut oil, vanilla, and a little bit of sea salt, or real salt as we use it. And I'll show you guys how to do this. But what we're going to start with is we're going to take about 4 cups of Rice Krispies, and we use, I can't say it, Erewhon.
Erewhon.
It's completely, it's free of all the allergens, top allergens, and it's organic and non-GMO, and it's very, very lightly sweetened, and I will stress lightly sweetened with brown rice syrup, which complements what we're going to use as our sweetener as we make them. So we're going to take 4 cups of those, and I'm going to get them ready in this bowl, because when we get to one part of this, we're going to have to move really quick. I'm going to go ahead and turn my pan on, and we're going to bring this to a boil, but I'm going to put it on, I have a smooth top. We're going to use an encapsulated pan with an encapsulated bottom if you have one, and we're going to set it on 5.5. It's going to be good enough for it to come to a rapid boil, and you want to be careful and do not move it or do not leave it, because it can boil over, and especially if you have a smooth top, you'll have a mess. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with 2/3 of a cup. If I can see how sticky that is? It's a real good sweetener. We're going to start with 2/3 of a cup of brown rice syrup. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of heap it, because if you see how thick that is, I won't get it all out of this. And there I just went down the side, which is fine. I'll just put it back in there. If you see, it's very thick. Very, very thick. So I'm going to get as much out of this jar as I can. And be prepared to clean up your counters, because they are going to be very, very sticky. Put that over there. So I'm going to take this and get this out of here. We're going to start with that and let that start to see how thick that is. As we boil it, it's going to thin out quite a bit. It's going to thin out quite a bit. But we're going to get as much of there as we can out of there. So 2/3 of a cup of that. Then the next thing we're going to get is coconut oil. We want it unrefined. This is Dr. Bronner's. I use his because there's other coconut oils and things that have some of the other allergens that I'm allergic to in them, and we don't want to expose anybody to any allergens that may be hidden. Some of them actually have peanuts in them, or they're used on shared equipment or whatever with peanuts, so I have to be really, really careful. And if you see, this is a really hard oil, and that's how we want it. So we're going to kind of heap it too, because it's not melted. We're not going to heap it too much, but just a little bit. That looks good. We're going to put it down with the brown rice syrup. And then we're going to let that start to come to a boil, and I'm going to rinse my hands. And I'm going to grab a spoon. And we'll stir it. And while that's coming to a boil, let's talk about our vanilla. So we're going to add, after this comes to a boil, we're going to let it boil. Once it comes to a rapid boil, we're going to let it boil for about 1.5 minutes. So that gets real good and combined together. The Flavor, I actually use vanilla flavoring by Frontier Co-op. It's organic and non-GMO. And the reason I use real vanilla flavoring is your alcohols, like your, this is non-alcoholic, your extracts and things have alcohol in them. And that alcohol either comes from wheat, barley, rye, or corn. And I'm allergic to those things, so I get the non-alcoholic. And what you'll find with this that's really, really neat is if you use vanilla extract, you might notice that some of your stuff may have like that aftertaste. This is very smooth. There is no aftertaste. It doesn't taste good by itself, don't get me wrong. But it doesn't have that aftertaste that some of your extracts can have. So these people are really good at doing that. And these are gonna go in, and I know I said I didn't cook with salt, but Ben said please put a little bit of salt in these, so I'm going to. And the salt that we use is real salt. It is unrefined, and the beauty of this real salt is it naturally has, because it doesn't have any additives or anything in it, like anti-caking agents or anything like that, it's got a hint of a sweet taste. So in addition to bringing out the sweet in what you're doing, there's a hint of sweet in that already with nothing added. So this is starting to come to a boil, which is what we want it to do. And like I said, watch it. It's going to boil. At 5.5, I don't know how, watch your stove. Everybody's stoves are different, but on this one, it's not going to boil over like that. But I'm going to go ahead and set a timer. I can't remember, 150? No, that's an hour. I forgot how to do it for 1.5 minutes.
You can.
Okay, so do 2 minutes, and we'll watch it. 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes. Just do it a minute. Well, we'll do it a minute because we've already been doing it here. So Ben, look at this. Show them this. So this is what it's going to do. This is what it's going to look like. And we're going to let it boil for a minute. Or it's already been boiling for a little bit, so I may go about 30 seconds here and then bring it out. I'm going to go ahead and get this ready. You don't have to. And if you notice it's kind of gelling, that's going to create your cohesion to act like the marshmallows do as that marshmallow replacement and pull, kind of bind everything together. And one reason like you add the vanilla and everything after is we don't want the vanilla to cook. We want that vanilla flavor. You know, if you cook vanilla, it can cook the flavor out, so we want the vanilla and all to be, ooh, that's looking good. We'll let it go about 10 more seconds here, and then this next part we're gonna have to move quick. All right, Ben, try me sides. So we're gonna take it off the heat, and we're gonna add about a teaspoon and a little heap because I love vanilla. We're going to stir that in. And then we're going to stir in the salt like that. Okay, you're going to try me sides, Ben. Now this part we're going to have to move quick. Or you might be able to do the other side, that's up to you. Because if you notice, it's already starting to thicken. So we want to add it to our Rice Krispie treats. Quick here. We want to add it. And I'm just going to go around. I'm going to start stirring it. Get what I can off the bottom because we want all of the thickener, all of the stuff. And we're going to stir it. We're going to mix it together really, really well. And like I said, it'll cool down really kind of quick. So we want to get it, I mean, don't sling it all over yourself because this is scalding hot with that being boiling, but you kind of want to mix it quick. Make sure we get everything off the bottom. And it's real good and incorporated. Okay, so what I've done here is I've pre-lined a pan with parchment paper. It's an 8x8, and I've just taken these to hold the paper down because I don't want it moving, and we're going to have to press it down so I don't want it ripping. So we're just going to transfer these here into the bowl. See, they're already sticking to the bottom. They will set rather quickly. So what I'm gonna do to press them down, because you know that's gonna be a sticky mess, is I'm just gonna take a piece of parchment paper. I'm gonna kind of work it into the corners with the spatula, like so. And then I'm gonna take my parchment paper.
I'm coming around, John.
Okay. And I'm just gonna press them down. Now you want to do it hard, but you don't want to do it too hard, because if you do it too hard, they'll be more crunchy than they are chewy. So we're going to press them down. That's pretty good. And that's what they're going to look like. And then I'm going to remove this, and I'm just going to cut the excess paper off because I just don't want it going in the freezer like that. Be careful not to lift it and lift everything out of the pan. Now, you can either let these come to set at room temperature, and it'll probably take about an hour, but what I usually do is I pop them into the freezer. In a normal freezer, we have a blast chiller. If I use that, I would probably let them go about maybe 10 minutes, but I'm not going to use the blast chiller. I'm just going to use the regular freezer. So we're going to pop them in there for about 25 minutes. That part is going to depend on your freezer and how it actually does things, but and you might want to play with that. If they're not all the way set, they can finish setting at room temperature. So what I'm going to do is let these set about 20 minutes and then take them out and let them come back up to room temperature, and then we'll cut them and show you what they look like. All right, everybody, we're back. So they've been in the freezer about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and come back up to room temperature. So I'm going to take them out of here. I'm going to open them. Now, I'm kind of funny. I take the edges off of them because when I cut them, because I like everything to be straight. But let me show you what they look like. They look just like a Rice Krispie treat. There you go, Ben. So I take the edges off of them. And you just do them like you do normal Rice Krispie treats. We're just going to cut them. Get them even. And this little strip right here, I'll say for Ben, you know, he hates being my taste tester. He just hates it. And then we'll just come across them. Just like you do Rice Krispie treats. So the beauty of these is what I'll do is I'll make a batch of them up, and then I will put them in freezer bags and I'll freeze them. We have a deep freeze that we can put them in, or even in here, but if you put them in a freezer bag, you can freeze them and then let them come back up to room temperature, and it's like you just made them. Some of the other things that I've done is I'll drizzle them with chocolate for Ben, or I've drizzled them with caramel, or, you know, different things like that. But that's a pretty simple way to make Rice Krispie treats. Now, I'm not going to say they're good for you, because they still are packed with, you know, some sugar, different types of sugar from brown rice syrup or whatever. But I will say that they're better for you. A better type, well, some people would argue, but kind of a better type of sugar, and then non-GMO and all organic. So that's our take on Rice Krispie treats. So we'll get this posted, and if you guys have any questions, concerns, or whatever, let us know. We'll put the recipe out there with it. But that is our take. I hope you like it, and tune in next time. Thanks, everybody, and happy Halloween.